alaikum. Welcome to yet another episode of Talk That Talk with Ardent Fly with me, your host, Mariam Umar Mariga. Today in the studio, I have a special guest, Fatima Abakar Umar. Today, inshallah, we'll be talking about the use of social media, how you use social media wisely. So, Fatima, tell us a little bit about social media. How does it influence you as a personal user, and what are the pros and cons of social media?
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
As we all know that social media is a platform or a media where people come together to interact, give their opinions, and share new things. Social media, like you said, has pros and cons. If you want to use social media, you need to weigh the pros and cons, and you need to be cautious of what you're doing. You need to be conscious of time also, and you need to know what you're going to benefit. The nafs that calls you to do bad, you need to
fight
it. You need to control yourself, like the urge. You might see so many things on social media that you would want to do, but you look at it from another point and be like, it's not worth it. You don't need to do this.
Okay, so what social media do you use personally?
Okay, I use WhatsApp. I am on Instagram. I use Snapchat and Telegram.
Okay, so what good impact as a Muslim teen has those apps? What impact has it given you? How did you benefit from using it? And why don't you use some other certain apps?
Social media has helped me in many ways, especially in my deen also. I am not really a person that read books a lot.
Yeah.
So I use social media, like watching videos, more of like lectures or like somebody that read a book, like discusses about that book. Or like, for example, a YouTube channel whereby you like see how people have discussions, books they read, or like so many beneficial things like lectures, educational stuff, things that like remind you of what you are and what you need to do or how you need to do it, how you need to go about your life. And not everything on social media that we see is actually the truth. Some things are actually fabricated. So you need to put that in mind, that not everything you see on social media is what it seems to be.
Yes, because there's a saying that nobody would ever show the world their heirs. Everyone wants to be perfect in the camera, so what they show us is not who they really are. Like recently, I saw on TikTok that there was this couple. People have been, mashallah, I want a spouse like this, blah blah blah, and surprisingly, they just figured out that the man forcefully married this lady, and she's always, wearing niqab, so you don't see her facial expression. They figured that he was an abuser. He beats his wife. He drinks, and he's like, kind of abusing her in different ways and forcing her to make TikTok videos with him. So we just need to understand that what we see is not what it really is, and especially on the social platforms that we use. So what do you think are good ways to use social media for? Like for me, I use it to discover books. I use it to make short videos, reminders and stuff. So what do you think, as Muslim teens of today, what should we be using social media for?
The most important, as a Muslim, you need to use social media to spread the word of Allah, the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From the story that you just narrated of the two couples, there's actually a problem that we have. We saw the story of this couple, what was happening behind. We don't know what was happening behind the scenes. Put yourself in the shoes of that person. Like, what made them do that? And then, like, people before, you see how people have problems. Before that happened, before they found out that she was actually being violated, they were actually wishing that they were
they were that person, that they had that life.
You see comments like, oh, so cute, mashallah, I wish I was this person. That's the problem. You don't know what's actually happening behind the scenes, and you're
praying it for yourself,
that you were that person. So like that's one thing about social media. You need to be you need to be conscious of
You can don't use basically
yes.
social media for things that are contrasting to yourself, because some people use, I don't know, some people kind of body shame themselves. They see a model on social media and think she hasn't gone through plastic surgery, she's just, Allah created her that way, and you don't know what happens behind the scenes, like you said. So
Yeah.
people should just learn to appreciate themselves. For example, now if you eat something or you drink something, it goes inside you and it maybe gives you energy or something. So let's say you open your feed now, your, let's say, Instagram feed. What pops up on your screen is something that you've been going through. It's something that you always see. Let's say, for example, now I have a mom who's a flower lover. She loves plants and stuff. So once you open her Instagram feed, that's what you see. Same thing with other aspects of social media. So whatever you use constantly, that is what appears on your feed, and whatever appears on your feed, you're taking it into your brain. Because if you see this in the morning, you can, it's just like listening to music or listening to the Quran recitation in the morning. Once you go to school, it starts your day. Let's say if you go to school, your behavior, how you behave the entire day, will reflect on what you've had in the morning. If you've not had breakfast, if you've had breakfast, you'll be energetic. So that's the same kind of fuel we get from social media and what we feed ourselves with from social media. So the good things that we can use social media for, like as you said, the spread of Islam. Are there other things that you use social media for, or you wish you could use social media for if you had the chance to?
The good things you can use social media for: checking up on like your relatives, your distant relatives, and like learning new things, making new discoveries, and like teaching others. Like, okay, I learned this and I would like to teach it to somebody and like get more reward for it. So, and yeah, we also have to pay attention to what people say, not really care about it, as long as you know that you're not in the wrong. You don't really need to care about what other people say. So you need to like just do what you feel is right, what you know is right, what your heart is telling you to do. Listen to your heart and do it, for as long as it doesn't
For as long as it is correct. Yeah, because for example, now if you look at some comment sections, let's say for example I'm doing something for the cause of Allah, let's say on Instagram or on Twitter, and I want to check my comments and see, let's say, the reviews of my followers or the people watching, my viewers. And if I see something disturbing, a disturbing comment, I suddenly just say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. So what do you think, that kind of mentality, how do we stop it? How do we continue to do good no matter what other people say? Because halal is halal even if nobody is doing it, and haram is haram even if everyone is doing it. So how do we remove that mentality from ourselves, especially as people who want to strive and spread the name of Islam?
One thing you need to know is that no matter what you do, good or bad, people will definitely talk about it. So what you need to tell yourself is that just take a deep breath. Allah is the only one you want to be pleased with you. He's the one that created you. He ordered you to worship him, and so on. So he should be your priority. One thing we need to know is that Allah is Allah even if we don't worship him. And we're doing it for ourselves and not for him. Just because you see Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest, that makes Allah automatically the greatest. Allah is not the greatest. He was already the greatest before you said it. Yes. He's not the greatest because he mentioned it. He is the greatest because he said he is the greatest, and nobody needs to say it for him to be the greatest.
MashaAllah. So there have been various cases of our Muslim teens using social media in various ways, and like I mentioned earlier, the cases of harassment or disturbing comments from people. And I actually recently heard that some people can get kidnapped just by posting a certain social media let's say post. So are there some things that we should not share about our personal lives on social media with people that we don't even know? Because some people don't have private accounts, some people are public accounts users. So what's your take on that?
You don't really need to tell the world that you're happy. You don't really need to go about telling the world, this was what happened today, I did this today, so and so did this, so and so sent me this.
All those people vlogging their entire lives
today. No, there are some things that you need to keep personal. And some things that when you're thanking Allah, you need to thank Him with one heart. Some people, you see them getting something, like they're happy or something, and then they post and be like, Alhamdulillah. Yes, you're thanking Allah, but then it is between you and
you
Him.
and Allah. You don't have to.
Okay, you might be thanking Him to show that, okay, like for gratitude that He blessed you with this, He gave you this, showing somebody that, okay, Allah is the one that gives, and He can take as well. So you don't really need to do that. You can just say Alhamdulillah, or like
verbally, without showing the entire world that you've said Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Or like somebody is like feeling remorseful, or like did something bad and like depressed or anxious or like sad, and then they post it. You don't really, just go back
to do that.
Your salamat, or like your prayer mat is there waiting for you. That's where you go when you're happy, you're sad, you're depressed, you're anxious, and you're like, even if when you're patient, that's where you need to put your forehead just to thank Allah.
Before we go on a break, I'll talk about the Islamic point of view of using social media. Personally, I don't think there's the need to use social media because at some point, if we're friends and we meet and we're talking, and all you're doing is, so what's the point of us meeting? So I also feel like social media is just a distraction for man in this life. It's just a business that the Westerners have devised, and they've brought it into our culture that we cannot live 24 hours without seeing our screens. If our phone is broken, we are anticipating when will it be fixed. I need to check up my WhatsApp, I need to save my streaks, those stuff like that. So what does Islam say about social media? Is there a ruling that people should not use social media, as some ulama are emphasizing, or is it okay to use social media but in the agreed and reasonable ways?
Okay, for whatever you do, just remember that there are angels around you and they're recording everything you do, your deeds. And you saying about talking about the ulamas making it permissible or not permissible. When you look at the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a way he socialized and interacted with both the believers and non-believers. So you don't really need social media for like sharing your opinions, or like interacting, or like communicating with somebody. You can just do it like one-on-one, with no other device, or like no medium between you and that person.
Exactly.
You can just communicate, view out your points, and then the person does the same thing.
With that, we'll go on a very short break. This is an advert from Raka Multi-Concept Limited. It is a clothing brand, and you would get the best shoes you've ever worn from their brand. Do check them out. Welcome back from the break. I hope you enjoyed it. So we've been discussing with my guest Fatima about using social media wisely. Back to the discussion. I came up with these guidelines. They're just basically steps that you pass your post through. Okay, fine, you want to post this. Let's say, for example, I have a picture of this pen. I want to post it. Okay, fine, let's run it through these steps. So the steps are, first you say, okay, what's your intention? You look at it, what am I intending to do? Like, you know how whatever you do, all your actions are rewarded based on your intention. So if my intention to post the picture of this pen, per se, is so that people come and buy it, now we have a business mindset. But if it's so that somebody can use the color, let's say, or make it a racial kind of thing, now I have a bad intention towards it. So after intention, you go to the next part, which is if your post is Islamically sound. So is this kind of promoting my religion in any way? Is this pen promoting my religion in any way? It's just whatever your post is, you look at it, okay, how is it adding to the religion of Allah? If it is actually Islamically sound, then you say, okay, is it my business? Is this something I should be talking about? Let's say, for example, I know nothing about politics and I'm here talking about politics. It's not my business. It's not something that I am verbally sound about. So if it's not your business, then you drop it. But if it's your business, you go to the next point and ask yourself, is it true? Because like you said earlier, there are lots of fallacies about social media that people don't know. People just use what they see and make up stories, and people just give their own opinions based on what they don't have actual knowledge about. So if it is true, then you go to the next point. Okay, is it beneficial? Am I going to impact in somebody's life with this? So you also run your post through that. If it is beneficial, then you ask yourself again, will it cause harm if it is said? Because there are some things that you would say, with good intention, something that's Islamically sound with pure heart, and then you say it, and then it just becomes a problem because you probably didn't say it the way you were supposed to say it, and instead of it to be a good thing, now it has become a bad thing. So if it is not going to cause harm if it is said, you look at it for the last time. Okay, is this a true representation of myself? Is this what I really think? Is this really my opinion? If someone should ask you, why did you post this? Oh, I just saw that someone did this and I screenshotted and I reposted, but it's not my opinion. So nobody cares, it's not your opinion. You posted it. So if they're coming to, let's say, catch somebody for doing that, you're the person at fault, because even though it's not your opinion, you still brought it to the social media platform. So I feel if people should run their posts through these things, would have less cases of harassment, less cases of even kidnappings on social media, and less cases of disturbing activities that go on social media.
Like you said, actions are judged based on their intentions. If somebody is going to post something on social media, they should look at the advantages and disadvantages of what they're going to show the world. Is it going to cause fitna, or like is it going to make somebody better, or like have a better view on that thing that you're going to post? For example, the pen, you give it as an example. You might decide to post the pen, and somebody will be like, I want this pen, but the pen is very, very expensive. Let's say they don't have the means to buy that pen. What comes to their mind?
They should steal the money.
They should steal the money. Or like, let me just do something and get the money, or like lie to my parents, I need money for something, I need that pen. Or like somebody would see that pen, like, MashaAllah, what a nice pen. I remember the Alladhi allama bil qalam. So exactly, you remember a verse of the Quran that talks about the pen. I remember, the pen was one of the first creations. Allah.
No, it has different, it's giving room for different mindsets.
Make you a better person.
Sure. Okay, so what are things that you think people should remember when they're using social media?
You need to remember that we work with time. Like, time is something that you can never avoid. You use time for everything, so you need to be cautious of your time. You're either wasting it or like you're benefiting from what you're doing with the social media. And also you need to remember that, like I said earlier, that there are angels that are recording both our good deeds and our bad deeds. So they're actually recording what we see with our eyes, what we do with our fingers, what we hear with our ears, and so on. So they are actually recording every single step we make and everything we do, both the good and the bad. And also you need to remember that all the deeds that we do in this dunya, they are going to be
accounted for.
They are going to be shown to everything or everybody on the day of resurrection. And it's a day where nobody can hide their faults, or like a day when nobody can avoid showing their good deeds. So it's a day where you'll be proud of what you did, or like you call yourself the loser.
May we never be among the losers, inshallah, on the day of Qiyamah. Dear viewers, we have been talking at length about using social media wisely with my guest Fatima. We have exhausted most of the things we were supposed to say, and inshallah, we would try as much as possible to strive to be Muslims that use social media wisely and that use it to spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can use social media for various things. You don't have to just, snap pictures or text messages. You can use it to promote your business. You can use it for advertisement. You can use it for various things that are positive, things that will impact your life and other people's lives, inshallah. So what are your last words that you'd give to us here on this show?
I would just like to say that we should be thankful for everything we get in life, and the best way to thank Allah is what? Use the opportunity that He granted you, He blessed you with in the best way you could actually show your gratitude. And with regards to this social media, we should keep in mind that even if we die, there are some things there that would never be erased, that they're there forever.
Should use social media wisely. So this brings us to the end of this show. We've been talking about using social media wisely. As Muslim teens, we're supposed to, spread the word of Islam, spread Islam throughout whatever posts we're making. We should, devise means to be productive with social media. Let's showcase our talent. Let's show the world what we can do positively without having to stand back and, be of those calibers of those dancing around it with their phones and stuff. So whatever we do, like our guest speaker said today, is whatever we post on social media is like we've just made a stamp that even if you delete it from your own app, it's still there on their server. You've already made a lasting print there. It's there. And let's even say you don't delete it. These things, if they're bad, they'd follow you to your grave. And whoever watches it, if your video contains musical instruments, whoever listens to that gets the sin, and you also get the sin for that person watching it. So let's know the kind of things that we post on social media. I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, and I want to urge you all to try as much as possible to do beneficial stuff for you, for yourselves, your families, and your friends. And use social media wisely. Use it positively and use it the way an ideal Muslim or an ideal Muslimah is supposed to. With this, I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for watching.